The UFO whistleblower misses some key details that makes me question really what their intention is, what they saw, and if there really is extraterrestrial life. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you what I think is actually going on, so stay to the end to hear that. What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. Ryan here. Today we're going to dive into an update of the UFO whistleblower, David Grusch, and we're going to talk about what I think he saw from an aviator, from a fighter pilot perspective. When it comes to aerial craft, in my humble opinion, it's hard to beat the opinion of a fighter pilot. So for me, when I see an intel officer, someone who's working in the Pentagon, come out and say that we have extraterrestrial aircraft, and yet they haven't seen them, it makes me think of a perspective from someone who has heard a lot of things and their mind has created something that might be different than what it really is. Now, before you get all excited, before you get your you-know-what in a bunch, I just want to say it's probably true that David saw something or heard something or talked to people who had seen something, but it might be a type of aircraft that's not understood by an intel officer. And this is no hit on intel officers. There's probably things they know about that myself as a fighter pilot, I don't know about. Some sort of sensitive collection for SIGINT, HUMINT. Those are different types of collection methods for intelligence that I'm not gonna know about. But if they see or hear about some sort of craft that is different from anything they've ever seen, they might question where it has come from. But as an aviator, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna think about what's 10 steps forward, what's 100 steps forward from what I've seen as a fighter pilot, that if I had an unlimited budget, some sort of new breakthrough in physics and technology, what would I create? Well, I'm just telling you right now, all I know is it would have a hot tub involved somewhere inside of it. So don't forget the hot tub when we're building this new technology. But let's talk about what David Grusch said and what he told Congress. And one of the key parts is that he said these craft may not be extraterrestrial. They might actually be from a different dimension, but coming from right here on Earth. So advanced technology potentially created by humans, which would explain why there's actual pilots in these things, because why would there be pilots if these things are being sent hundreds or millions of light years from another planet to where we're at? Most likely it would need to be AI or some sort of relay device that can send information back to that home planet, because keeping pink bodies alive during that journey is going to take up so much energy that it's probably not going to have a lot left to do anything here on Earth. And when you see the speeds that these things are moving at, going from the surface of the water to 80,000 feet in half a second, it's just ridiculous that a human or any type of organism can survive that type of movement. So most likely in that case, it's AI relaying information. And then Grusch goes on to say, I don't want to necessarily denote origin. I don't think we have all the data to say, oh, they're coming from a certain location. And in the interview that Grusch recently did, he said that he has not seen any of these crafts himself, but he's heard about them from other intelligence officials. So again, this can be like the game of telephone. When you don't understand aeronautics, you don't understand how aircraft work, you hear about it from one person and then it is passed down the line. Before you know it, you think that they're flying the Oscar Wiener mobile up there and you just don't have a clear picture of what's going on. And a second option would be that a higher up official in the government understands that there's going to be whistleblowers or someone's going to see this, because in the American system, there's transparency. I mean, if you think about a program like this in Russia or China, we'll never hear about it. So there's no need for them to make it as clandestine or as secretive or turned into something that might have plausible deniability. Because in Russia and China, they're just not going to let anybody leak it. Or if anybody does leak it, they're going to kill them and their families, and it's going to dissuade everyone else from leaking it. There's no whistleblower program in those countries. So potentially higher ups in the US military, being smart, I mean, they got to where they are for a reason. I'm not saying that they're necessarily the best leaders, but they've got to the top of that structure and they're going to do things to protect the American system and the American structure. What that might be is creating a false program that distracts someone like David Grusch and makes them think, oh, these are extraterrestrial, when really they want to have that possible deniability, so that for whatever reason, Russia and China, who have spies all throughout the Pentagon, all throughout a lot of different American programs, they're actually not able to kind of discern what's real and what's not. And it just gives you the opportunity to maintain some sort of classification when you know there's going to be people running around like this. And again, I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but if someone's running around potentially selling your secrets, and one of the reasons why Grusch has said that this is not a good thing to have happen, this is not a good program, is because he's said that the DoD is sharing aspects of this program with a specific defense contractor. And so he's saying that that's not fair to the other defense contractors because this one defense contractor might get the contract to build whatever this is or reverse engineer this and create systems with similar capabilities, and that's not fair. Again, it comes down to the American system. We're capitalistic. We're based on capitalism. So at the end of the day, if you want to retain some classification, you're going to have to be very clandestine and secretive with who you give it to. An ultra trusted agent that you give this to redesign it. If you give it to 50 different contractors, it's going to leak out and potentially China and Russia are going to get a hold of it. So that just wouldn't be smart. Grusch also claimed that the Vatican was in on the very first verified UFO cover-up in 1933. He said that the Mussolini government had allegedly kept in storage a UFO until near the end of World War II, and then Pope Pius XII back-channeled the existence of the object to the United States, which obtained it in 1944 or 1945. So he's sharing sensitive information to kind of show like, hey, I have some credibility. Look, I know what's going on because I don't have actual footage of these crafts, which leads me to another question. With all these different cameras, all the different research and observation devices that we have, we can't spot these potential alien aircraft that are massive. Grusch has claimed that they might be the size of football fields, and that comes from interviews that he's done with people that have potentially seen these football field sized motherships, which essentially sounds like a glamorized version of Independence Day. So we can track someone stealing a package from Amazon off your porch, but we literally can't see a football field sized UFO flying around Earth. I mean, these are the things that make me question the credibility. Grusch also claims that the UFOs have gotten aggressive at times, but he stops short of saying what that actually means, whether that's some sort of directed energy weapon or what they've observed from these things. Basically, in this case, in the case of using force, he says that gets into classifications that he can't discuss, which is very interesting because he seems to not really care about the classifications of things that he's releasing currently. And then it gets into some more conspiracy theories of people have been silenced. And don't get me wrong, I think this one might be the most plausible. People being silenced that have seen things they're not supposed to see is something that's happened throughout history. So when he said that, that makes sense to me. But ultimately, it could just be for classification purposes, could be to basically prevent espionage from China or Russia. Let's say the FBI has knowledge of an actual Russian spy that is trying to steal secrets from the US. Maybe there's some things that happen behind closed doors that the public doesn't need to know about, but obviously things happening without a trial is very un-American. And then it just comes down to what I think this really is. And this is, again, just my opinion as a fighter pilot on YouTube. But what I noticed when it came to intel officers, public relations officers, and even doctors sometimes in the Air Force, when they're around aviation, they have huge brains and they're super smart people. But it's a smarts that's not directed to aviation. It's a smarts that's not been exposed to the different forces and G-forces in a continual basis where you know how that aircraft works. Maybe they've taken flights before in the back of aircraft, but they haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty of how something can move through space in a way that kind of defies gravity and defies logic. Some of the aerobatics that you can do in an F-16 can definitely defy that. But when you put these critical thinkers in places where they think they're seeing UFOs, there's a chance that they're just seeing some sort of advanced aircraft that's been designed and needs to be protected for national security reasons. Quick story, when I was flying on the Thunderbirds, there was a public affairs officer who had seen what the show line looked like. And that's just basically a bubble that you're not supposed to fly into to protect the crowd in case something goes wrong. And it's kind of built for older aircraft in case there's a malfunction or something like that. And this particular day, we flew over that line in our formation, which is not standard practice, but it can happen due to winds, due to environmentals and things like that. And it's really just not a big deal. It's really one of those things you just come back and debrief and you say, oh, okay, you crossed the show line. That wasn't what you were trying to do, so next time, don't do it. But in this case, this public affairs officer thought that that was a hard and fast rule, that if you cross that line, basically the crowd is going to die or the jets are going to explode. But when you look at it from an aviator perspective, from a calm, cool, and collected perspective, you say, look, no big deal. No one was hurt, and honestly, no one was even close to being hurt. This is a guideline that helps protect people for potentially other aircraft besides the Thunderbirds, although the Thunderbirds should be adhering to that as well. That's the mindset that you can get when you get these critical thinkers into these positions where they're seeing things that don't make sense. So what I would like to see is more whistleblowers like Commander Fravor, who've actually seen these things and maybe an even closer up view of the Tic Tac objects and getting some higher resolution photos of those things, because the ones that are out now of the Tic Tac UFO are just kind of hard and grainy, and it doesn't make sense that with all the technology we have out there, we don't have better photos. Thanks so much for checking out this update, guys. If you like this video, pop over to Max Afterburner on Patreon. Got a lot of stuff popping up over there. maxafterburner.co for some threads. And hey, just like and subscribe at the end of the day. Thanks for watching this video. Hey, what's up everybody? Ryan Neo here. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Please check out another video. That's pretty much the best compliment you can give me, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much. We'll see you on this next video, and have a great day.